So I think about what will happen as there's even more intensity, and how will that work. I think some of the disruptors I talk about is what will happen to the giants, and will the downturn crush Cushman and Wakefield? Some people think so. They've been trying to merge with other people. What happens when we get down? It's really amazing that our industry is dominated by Cushman, CB, and JLL, all of which are over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Just try to think about that. Think about the airlines that we're now dominated by. There's no airlines that are very old, and the newest ones are taking over. Look at the car companies. And it's going to be really interesting to see what that evolution is like. What I think is interesting is if you'll look at the CBRE profit and loss statement over the last several years, they have moved more and more toward corporate services, so that brokerage is not as great a share as it has been. So particularly with this new decision that has come out recently about, did the seller really understand that they were paying a commission of which some would go to the agent of the buyer, and that was
Yeah.
pre-negotiated and didn't understand, wasn't transparent? You could make the case that there will be more salaried agents in the future that will work on sort of corporate assignments, that CB needs more and more worker bees to fulfill the clients that they're signing. I'm not saying CB is abandoning brokerage by any means, but compared to when I started with CB, there was no such thing as facilities management. And now we have all these advisory services, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's some evolution coming from the very top companies. We'll see what that looks like. One of the things I say in Adapt is that the big accounting companies have very strong advisory. Pricewaterhouse, Coopers, they all have very strong. Deloitte, they all have very strong. PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, they have very strong consulting businesses, and so it'll be interesting to see, I think, how that goes. But then finally, the big one is what happens when all the old white guys finally leave.